Hello, I'm Sue Foster, speech and language therapist. I've been working for the NHS now for 25 years. I'm going to take you with me on my wellbeing journey from burnout to recovery. I'm going to take you back to a time at work last summer when things were really quite challenging. I had a busy caseload. We'd got a number of vacancies in the department, and really work was just quite challenging, quite demanding. I'd been aware for a few months that I was starting to feel unwell. I was getting regular eye pain, headaches, palpitations. I completely was feeling shattered, just couldn't seem to feel rested. It came to a head one day when I went to work and I felt really overwhelmed from the beginning of the day. I had a number of reports that needed to be in. I'd got a really long to-do list, lots of phone calls to make. I started my way through my work. I rang one of my colleagues and realised that I needed to just finish the call as soon as possible. I needed to have a break. I need to get a rest from the work. So I put the phone down quite quickly and headed off out the building. I could feel palpitations and my heart was racing. I could see flashing lights in front of my eyes. There was whirring noises in my ears and whooshing noises, and I felt really, really unwell. The thought there was that classic fight response that I just wanted to run. I needed to get away from this stress. And I headed across the car park. I was just looking for somewhere to have a break, somewhere to sit down, and I thought I'd be okay then if I just had a break. So I headed off down the car park, and by the time I got to a bench, I literally collapsed on the bench. Immediately, two people that were working in offices opposite the bench, two people who I didn't even know, came running to my help. These, I think, were my good Samaritans. Their names Luke and Sarah. What they did was come over, check whether I was okay, listen to me, asked if I wanted a drink, asked if there was anyone that I would like them to contact, and just were generally just there for me. I really appreciated that. I really appreciated that there were people around that would take time out and just come over and listen and take time to care. So they sat with me for a little while, and after I reassured them that really I just needed peace, I just needed time to get my thoughts together, they left me and came back to check on me later that I was okay. After an hour, I felt that I was in a position to go back to work. When I got back to work, I realised that things had changed, that really I wasn't going to be able to focus on work that afternoon. I wasn't going to be able to do any reports, and I certainly wasn't going to be able to make any phone calls. The next day, I decided that I needed to make an appointment with the doctor. I managed to get in with the doctor that day, and we went through my symptoms, had a questionnaire to fill out, and the doctor diagnosed work-related stress. He said, what you need to do now is to look after yourself. You need to have some time off. You need to have a rest, have a break, and start. These things would help to make me feel better, be a start on my way to recovery. Now, when I got home, I thought back to the Wellbeing Festival that I'd recently attended, and I knew that I'd had a pack of resources from there, and we'd heard lots of interesting talks. I dug out all of the notes that I had from the Wellbeing Festival, and I thought, right, this is the time to put this into practice now. I felt very proactive. I really wanted a proactive approach to my well-being. There were two documents in particular that I used to plan my recovery. One of them was the Wellbeing Wheel. The second was a document called Ways to Wellbeing. Both of these things formed a crucial part of my recovery plan. I'm going to share with you first the Wellbeing Wheel. So this is the Wellbeing Wheel, and it's split up into lots of different areas, all of them that have an impact on well-being: physical health, exercise, nutrition, alcohol, sleep, spiritual well-being, work-life balance, and mental health. It was all of these areas that I looked at and I rated myself on to form my well-being plan. I selected a number of areas there that I would like to work on. These 4 key areas were exercise, nutrition, mental health, and spiritual. I can tell you that I certainly wasn't anyone to exercise. This was going to be a major challenge for me, but I'd heard so much about the benefits of exercise and physical well-being on mental well-being, and I thought it was ridiculous not to take notice of that, despite how I felt about exercise. I can tell you that I was one of those people at school that was never picked for anything. Nobody wanted me on my team. I certainly wasn't sporty, and certainly wasn't any kind of fitness fanatic. So I decided an achievable goal would be to try and exercise, either walk or swim for 30 minutes 3 times a week. And also at the Wellbeing Festival, a number of people, including Rob Freund, talked about doing park runs and what he got out of park runs. So I thought, why not throw myself into it? And I decided I would try and do a park run. The second aspect was nutrition. I decided to eat more fruit and veg, drink more water, and try and lose a stone. I found out about referral, that you could get a free referral to Slimming World. Because of my weight at the time, I would be judged as obese. I was a size 18 to 20, and I managed to get that free referral to Slimming World. I'd set out to lose a stone, and I did that very quickly within 2 months, and but then went on finally to lose 4 stone 2 pounds. Really proud in March to achieve target status with Slimming World, having gone from a size 18 to 20 to a size 10 to 12. So that was really a major change in my life. I felt so much better, so much more physically fit. The swelling in my ankles disappeared, the pain in my hips disappeared, and this made me feel so much better. For mental health, I decided to ask for a referral to the Trust counselling team. And I was a little bit sceptical about that at first, but I found it was really, really practical. Had lots of practical ideas as to how to balance work and home responsibilities, how to delegate responsibilities at home, just really very, very practical ways of getting that balance right and maintaining my mental health. The final point was the spiritual angle, and as a Christian, I was attending church on a weekly basis, but there were other things that I wanted to do to improve that aspect of my life as well. So parkrun, I was probably one of these most unlikelies to join parkrun. At the top, you'll see me sat outside in that navy and white stripy t-shirt. That was me sat in my car thinking, I just really can't do this. All I could see was people in lycra that looked very different to me. I was desperately trying to seek out and understand what I was doing there. Finally, I got the courage to get out of the car, and soon after I was met by some volunteers who were there on the day to reassure people like myself, and I had a chat with one of those, and she gave me the encouragement to just get on and to do it. So that was my start of my parkrun journey. It was only a couple of weeks or so after I'd been to see the doctor, so it was a major thing for me to do. The second photo at the top is of me. I think that was my second parkrun, right at the back, well, with the line walkers just at the back of me, just to make sure I wasn't at the end, just encouraging me along all the way. That was me walking, but it was still a lot of effort for me to do that, going around Wicksteed Park. So as time went on, I gradually gave myself more and more challenges, and decided I would try and jog a little bit more. And my friend came along and joined with me, And before lockdown, I'd got to a combination of jog and walk, jogging down the hills, jogging when I saw a marshal, and walking for the rest. But I was really proud of myself, and I was really quite an unlikely person to do this, but I really enjoyed it. It made me feel great. And alongside going to the gym, I was swimming a lot and set myself lots of different exercise challenges. I achieved bronze, silver and gold Body of Magic awards from Swimming World. I found something called Race at Your Own Pace, which is still going if you look it up on the internet. I set myself a challenge of swimming 5 miles in a month. I also found out about the Go Try Challenge, Try January, and I did a number of gym triathlons in January. I had lots of fun in improving my scores with that. I attended some of the sessions by the Northants Tri Club, which was running in conjunction with the Go Try Challenge. And immediately I was told I had to wear goggles and get my head under the water, which is something I'd never done, and was taught how to swim properly, and that really increased the speed that I could swim, and it was just a real challenge for me. I also started back with cycling, and as I say, I did the park run as well. So this was the third aspect of my well-being. And the final one that I worked on was my spiritual well-being. I'd say with the busyness of my work, this was an area that it got a little bit neglected, really. I'm a Christian and I was going to church every week, but I just felt a bit distant from God. And I came back to Jesus and prayed daily, read my Bible more often, and I just wanted to share a couple of verses that I feel really helped me along my route to recovery. The first one being, "For I am the Lord your God who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you." And I really felt that through that time, turning to God, I really felt that I'd got somebody there to help me and to lead me. And the second one being, "The Lord is my shepherd," a familiar hymn to many people, taken from Psalm 23. And there was a couple of things in there that I would really say spoke to me. "He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters." And that's how I felt at the time. It was as though I'd been left to lie down, to rest, to just sit by still waters, and then my soul was being restored. And as well as my spiritual well-being, that I was being led to improve things in my physical and mental well-being. That was a really, really important thing to me. So I mentioned to you about the well-being wheel. This was another thing that I looked at. Just going to briefly take you through this. It's a document that's available on the internet. I've given you the reference there. 5 easy steps to improve your well-being. And this was, as I say, another thing that I sat down with and I planned quite in quite a structured way as to what I was going to do to improve my well-being. So there's 5 different points there. We've got connect. I got in contact with an old school friend, and basically we did everything, any of those physical challenges together. We went to the gym together, we went to park run together. We did so many things together, and so lovely that was to make those old connections and get back in touch with each other. Be active, which you've already heard lots about. Take notice with my picture of the dandelion there. It's something that I like to do now on my daily bike rides. I like to get out and about and chart the changes in the seasons. I've loved seeing the blossom appear during spring, during lockdown. A lot of people said they could hear the birds. They seem to be even louder, and I would definitely resonate with that. And hearing skylarks singing on my bike rides, hearing the very first cuckoo. It's been a lovely time to really enjoy nature and to enjoy the beauty of creation just singing at us. Who wouldn't feel lifted up by that? The next pointer there is keep learning, and I chose to go to the library and just go thumb my way along the books and just found something that I thought would be of interest. The beginning of my sick leave, I really couldn't concentrate on anything. I couldn't concentrate on a conversation, let alone a book. And this was a book that I chose as a bit of a challenge. It was a difficult read, but it was very interesting. And as I recovered, as I could concentrate more, it's something that I dipped into and was really felt it an interesting read. The final thing there is give. So there's lots of ideas of random acts of kindness. And for me, I wondered, what could I do? And I'd seen that the local churches were asking for volunteers to knit angels to be left around the town near Christmas. And I could knit. It was something that I'd done a long time ago, but only very basic. And I thought, well, I'll give myself a challenge to knit one or two of these angels. And as you can see, I got carried away and I knitted a whole host. And I got so much from seeing children finding these angels and posting them on Facebook. And it definitely fits in with that saying that it's more blessed to give than to receive. And as much as they enjoyed finding them, I really enjoyed seeing them doing that, finding them. So that was what I did during my recovery. After 6 months, I went back to work and was at work for a few months before lockdown began. Obviously, with all of that exercise, I was really concerned about what was I going to do when the gym was closed, when the swimming pool was closed, when I couldn't do park run anymore. So I decided to do a few practical things to keep that going. I join in on a weekly basis with Denman College. It's a WI's training college. They run cookery classes, which are available to all at the moment for just £5 a week. And I really enjoy baking along with friends across the country and providing goodies to my family, which heartily tuck into those. I continue with my bike rides. Absolutely no reason why not to do that. And I love getting out there, whatever the weather is, and that really makes me feel good. And also I joined the NHS Chorus 19, which is a virtual choir run for NHS colleagues across the whole country. And we've just recently finished our recording of Over the Rainbow, which should be shown in the next couple of months or so on TV. And it's been a lovely thing to be part of what people are doing across the country, just joining together at this time. We're also working on another song, and that's COVID-19 it's called, to the tune of Come On Eileen, and that's been really good too. Also during lockdown, we decided as a team that we were going to really try to improve our well-being together. We have a weekly update, and it's anything from what everybody's garden's like to little things that we've come across in the week that might inspire each other. So as a team, we're encouraging each other along too. We've had a couple of quiz nights, which have been hilarious, where friends and family have joined in with the quizzes, and all of us in our department have logged in, and we've had mimes and drawings and all sorts of different things, and it's been really lots of fun to keep ourselves together during that time. So that was my well-being journey. As you can see, it was quite a long one that I was on. I thought that it was only going to be a month or so and I'd be back at work, but it did take me 6 months. When I came back to work, I realised that I had to make a lot of changes. I needed to start thinking of myself first. That's not something in an NHS setting or a care setting that we really like to do. We always put other people before ourselves, but then what happens? We become completely burnt out. We need to look after ourselves first so that then we can look after each other. So I've given lots of practical ideas of things that's helped me with my well-being. A number of different things, physical, mental, spiritual, nutrition, lots of different things that I put into place to improve things for myself. I wonder if there might be anything there for you, something that you might feel that you could do to improve your own well-being. So the challenge is, we've only got one life. We need to look after ourselves. What are you going to do?